Can it get to the Moonblast? It does. Going to get the second shield. The Yveltal probably feeling like if I could just get rid of this Sylveon right here, farm it down, have energy loaded, we could still pull off this game. Never mind. It's a Togekiss in the back. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Ox here with another video. If you're new to the channel, we do upload Pokemon Go content mostly related to PvP. And if you're a returning subscriber like MrRaidGoals, thank you for the support. In today's video, we are taking a look at some open Master League content, but this team also works in the Master League Classic. And it's a team that's been gaining a little bit of steam in recent days. This is a shoutcast. These battles were submitted to the channel by MrRaidGoals, so thank you for the submission. This team, as you see it on the screen, consists of a double charm line with Sylveon and Togekiss in the back, Giratina Origin in the lead. So this line definitely going to trigger a couple of people, I'm sure, but it is a standard ABB strategy. You're going to try and learn out the steel type, then align Giratina Origin, save the shields for the Togekiss in the back, and hope it can sweep. If you guys enjoy this type of content, please make sure you smash that like button. It really helps the channel grow. Leave a comment in the comments section down below. Check out one of my other videos right here. And without any further ado, let's jump into the first battle right now. Alright, so we have two sets of battles to shoutcast today. As you can see, the first battle is actually missing from the submission, so it's only 9 battles that are being showcased here. However, we're still going to take a look at how this double charm team works in the Master League. So we got Giratina into Melmetal. Of course, this is where you're going to want to see the Melmetal, preferably in the lead spot, gets to avoid the Togekiss and the Sylveon right here. The opponent is choosing to stay in here, so of course, you're not going to switch out here, you're going to stay in. Giratina does win this match quite comfortably. And as you can see here, the Giratina Origin, this is actually a level 44, the Sylveon is a level 50, and I believe the Togekiss is a level 48.5 with the best buddy boost for those of you who are asking for the levels on these Pokemon. This is the Open Master League after all. See right here, the Melmetal is going to get off a move here, and as long as the opponent doesn't have a second steel type in the back, you should be good to go with the double charm strategy, but it's still a pretty risky team to use because it's not that great. It still does lose to other Pokemon. Stuff like Kyogre could be an issue, for example. So just because you get rid of the steel type doesn't mean the game is won. And right here, as you can see, the Kyogre does come in, and this is a pretty bad matchup for Sylveon. The only thing though is that Togekiss is pretty much going to destroy that Garchomp in the back. So as long as you get this Kyogre very low enough to the point where the Togekiss could just come in and farm it down with a couple of charms, you're going to win this game because the Garchomp literally cannot do anything to the Togekiss. So right here, Sylveon going to choose to shield, wants to get off some more charm damage to this Kyogre. At this point, the shields aren't really important, not going to get to another move, but they are able to farm down the Kyogre. Actually, Garchomp comes back and it's going to get a bit of an energy lead, but as you can see, there is nothing you can do right here. The opponent backs out, doesn't want the smoke, and the double charm strategy off to a 1-0 start. So let's hop into match number 2. And once again, Giratina Origin in the lead, seeing a Mewtwo here. So Mewtwo, pretty solid lead for Giratina Origin here. And in this situation, it's a tricky spot because in one sense, you kind of have to swap out to lure out the steel type. But at the same time, you don't want to really swap out of such a positive matchup like this one. I mean, it's not the greatest matchup, but it's still a pretty dominant matchup for Giratina. And goes for the Mamoswine boost, which isn't good because now Mewtwo's going to have another move. Not going to shield this one right here. It is only a side strike. Should be able to farm down. A little bit of lag right there, is able to farm down. Now I imagine they're going to swap out into the Sylveon, preserve this for later. We see the Yveltal come in to Mamoswine. So the thing about this team is that from my experience battling it, when I see somebody safe switch into Togekiss, I don't typically assume that they have a double charm strategy or 2 charm users in the back. However, if the opponent swaps out into Sylveon as their safe switch, I instantly start assuming that it's double charm because who runs Sylveon unless it's a double charm team, right? So if they do that, that's kind of why I like the Togekiss safe switch a bit better, but at the same time, Sylveon does perform better. So that's why I think this team has a lot of risk involved, because you kind of give it away by switching out into the Sylveon, but at the same time, you kind of have to switch into Sylveon. You can see the opponent here, once again, doesn't want the smoke, backs out, double charm, off to a 2-0 start. Technically a 3-0 start if you include the match that was not submitted for this video. So Giratina Origin into Togekiss, here we go. This is a horrible lead. I'm gonna swap out into the Sylveon here, look to lure out the steel type, but instead we see a Snorlax come in. And in this particular matchup, I would assume that Snorlax is going to win this. Charm is doing quite a bit of damage here, but as you can see, Lick is also doing damage, and Snorlax should definitely outpace the Sylveon to the charge moves. So due to that, I would assume that Snorlax will win this as long as they choose to use one shield and match shields at that point. Snorlax should come out on top. You see right here, Sylveon gets off the Moonblast, but the Snorlax already at their second body slam. They'll probably even get to the third body slam. The Sylveon's not even going to get to another charge move here. The opponent throws energy though, which is very fortunate for this trainer right here because they were definitely not getting to the Moonblast here. The Snorlax should be close to dry now on energy. Gonna come in with the Togekiss here and look to farm down. The Snorlax is going to get to one more body slam here and going to choose to burn a shield right here. So farms down the Snorlax, and let's see what the opponent's gonna come in. Because their main counter to a charm user was Snorlax, you have to assume they're pretty weak in the back to charm. They actually choose to come in with their Togekiss. Gonna go for the ancient power right here, and because this Togekiss isn't actually level 50 and the other one is, there is a break point there for charm damage. They get the boost, which means the opponent backs out. So you're gonna take that game. Every single opponent is backing out so far in these battles. Let's hop into the next one. See if we can go 4 of 4 in terms of the opponents backing out. Another horrible lead right here. Once again, swapping on to Sylveon, and we see a Swampert right here. So Swampert, not so popular in the Master League Classic, but it does have quite some play in the Open Master League because one, you can get it close to level 50, and two, a lot of those Pokemon at the top are like Landorus, Melmetal. Those are the Pokemon that get to level 50. Swampert has very good matchups against them, so it makes sense why you would see Swampert a lot more in this league as opposed to Master League Classic. Sylveon going for the Moonblast right here. Swampert lets that go through, so they do take switch. Togekiss comes back in, and now you pretty much have to come in with the Togekiss as well. And you can see right here, the opponent's charm, I believe the opponent is doing 10 damage per charm, whereas our Togekiss is doing 9 damage per charm because of that defensive bulk point. But I could be wrong here. But as you can see, you're actually probably not wrong because the Togekiss, they sneak in a charm too, but they were lower in health and now it's getting very close. So they do shield it up. And look at this, it's going to be a simultaneous knockout despite the opponent's Togekiss being lower in health initially. And this is a pretty brutal matchup here for Giratina Origin. Basically comes down to getting, you need the Omniswin boost at this point to even have a chance of winning this game. It does get baited with the Sand Tomb. That's pretty unfortunate because I think the opponent's actually running Mudshot here on their Garchomp. Yeah, they are running Mudshot. Most Garchomps that run Mudshot aren't actually running Sand Tomb, so definitely worth a shield there, but at this point you needed the boost on the Omniswin, gets outraged, decides to surrender once the game's already over, but it is what it is. Still manages to go 4-1 in that first set with double charm and moves past 2600 elo. Alright, so hopping into the second set of battles, we got Daily Lemon Coke. So Giratina Origin into a Shadow Tyranitar. Horrible lead for Giratina, but 2 solid answers in the back. And here comes the hardest of counters for Sylveon. It is a Metagross, but of course you want to lure this out now. So Sylveon coming in. Looks like the opponent's actually going to commit to a complete farm down here, which I think is the correct play at this point. Sylveon really can't threaten the Metagross here. Gonna get farmed down completely, so Giratina Origin gonna have to come back in and most likely eat 2 Meteor Mashes, which I believe it can survive actually at full health. Should be able to take both Meteor Mashes here and still have the health remaining. Actually should have quite a decent amount of health, so you can see that didn't do too much. Second one going to come through and should be able to commit to the complete farm down. And now you're hoping that the Metagross is the only hard counter they have for the charm user. Here comes Togekiss. It's a Mewtwo. Togekiss should be able to win this in the 2 shields, and having any sort of sliver of health should be enough to take this game for the Togekiss against that Shadow Tyranitar, because those charms are going to absolutely slaughter Tyranitar. So Side Strike coming through, using both shields, going to commit to the complete farm down here. That is a lot of health, and a Bite Tyranitar is not going to be able to do anything. I'm assuming this is Bite right here. It looks like Bite's pretty fast, and this should only be a crunch, which isn't going to be enough to take out the Togekiss. Going for the Ancient Power here, which definitely is not necessary and kind of pointless to throw. Should definitely just be going for the charms here, but fortunately is able to farm down there before the Bite takes out the Togekiss. So it takes that game against a pretty difficult lead, but 2 solid answers for the T-Tar. Basically, that was a perfect example of how this team is supposed to work. Lure out the Steel type, and speaking of the Steel type, here it is in the lead. Metagross swap out to Garchomp. Here comes the Sylveon, and I guess in this case, I'd probably prefer coming into Togekiss against Garchomp, because if they have Earth Power, you could actually end up losing this match, I believe. So I think against Garchomp safe switch, I would much rather come in with the Togekiss here. But the opponent doesn't look like they have Earth Power, obviously, with the Sand Tomb. They are going to get to one more move here. Probably going to no-shield this. Is it going to... It's an Outrage, but not enough to take out the Sylveon there. You can see in that 0 shields got very close, but that's actually perfect. And in hindsight, actually, now that I think about it, it makes sense to come in with Sylveon as opposed to Togekiss, because you don't want to win that match with a lot of health remaining, right? Because the opponent has Metagross, but for some reason they came with Togekiss here, and now I think they realized their mistake. They should have came in with the Metagross. Opponent backs out, so not entirely sure what happened there in that game, but obviously the opponent probably should have came with the Metagross there, but they decided to come with Togekiss. Either way, opponent backs out. Let's hop into the next battle. We got Giratina Origin into Mewtwo right here. So another very solid lead. And once again, one of those tricky spots where you're not exactly sure if you should stay in or should you swap out into one of your fairies to lure out the steel type. So in this case, is deciding to stay in here. Going to go for the Ominous Wind bait again, and they're never calling the baits, but he gets the boost. Oh my goodness. Mamoswine comes in, and at this point, Mamoswine actually doesn't have the greatest matchup against the Sylveon, so you could consider swapping out here. But with the boost, it's really hard to give up the boost, right? You never want to swap out once you get the boost. In this particular case, going to stay in here. Not a good matchup, but with the boost, it actually becomes very playable. The opponent burns both shields here. So Giratina Origin should be able to survive an avalanche, I believe, at this point because they are boosted. You can see they do, but not going to be able to get to the next Ominous Wind. Might shield here, and may even look to swap out to preserve the move, but no, going to keep it, throwing the Ominous Wind right here. Not sure if this will be enough to take out the Mamoswine. No, not enough, but he gets the double boost and swap out. So he got 2 boosts right there, but basically got the second boost at the end of the game. It's a Giratina Origin in the back. This game is over. 2 amazing answers for this in the back. Giratina gonna go for the Shadow Ball here. And Giratina actually is going to be able to take out Sylveon in the 0 shield. So that is very impressive and good to know. That Giratina Origin can defeat Sylveon in the 0 shields. Mostly, I think, because Moonblast Last Resort just takes so long. And this right here, this is a frustration exit. You know, they've had enough. They close the app. They don't want the smoke. They back on out of there. That game, you know, losing to a boosted Giratina, never fun. But then losing to Double Charm in the back is pretty rough. Next match, I think we just battled this person earlier in the video, actually. I could be wrong, but I think this is the second time battling this same trainer. And it might be the same team. So Giratina into Mewtwo again. We've seen a lot of Mewtwo leads in this video. And last time we saw the Mewtwo went for the Side Strike. They're always shielding. This time they decide to no shield. And then he always goes for the Ominous Wind. I believe this time they're actually going for the Shadow Ball instead. So playing it differently this time. Shadow Ball comes through. Bang! There it is. Mewtwo taken out. Yveltal comes in. Sylveon comes in. Lures out the Mamoswine. Actually not a horrible matchup for the Sylveon right here. So Mamoswine going to throw an Avalanche. Going to shield this up. Basically at this point, if you could just get this Mamoswine low enough to the point where it's Togekiss locked onto Yveltal, even if you're down shields, Togekiss is going to be able to take that match. Unless the Yveltal is running something like maybe Hurricane or Psychic, maybe that could flip the match with Togekiss down 2 shields. But Yveltal comes in, it's going to have to burn 1 shield here for sure on the Moonblast, which it does. And saving both shields, man, I don't even think a Focus Blast. Hurricane would probably KO from here for sure, but it's a Focus Blast. Sylveon survives. Can it get to the Moonblast? It does. Going to get the second shield. The Yveltal probably feeling like if I could just get rid of this Sylveon right here, farm it down, have energy loaded, we could still pull off this game. Never mind. It's a Togekiss in the back. What are we supposed to do against that? Just gotta back out, I guess. But Double Charm, really painful sometimes to go up against. Giratina Origin into a Giratina Origin, so the mirror match right here. And notice that the opponent's Giratina was actually a lower CP, but swaps out into Sylveon anyways. The opponent comes in with a Togekiss as the counter to the Charm user. So what this tells you right here is that Togekiss is likely going to have a very good matchup in the back. If this is their best counter to Sylveon, they probably don't have a much better one for the Togekiss hiding in the back. Probably not going to shield this right here. Ancient Power comes through, going to get off 1 or 2 more charms. At this point, you could technically come in with Giratina and farm down, or you could just come in with Togekiss. Either one works. Of course, if you go for the farm down of Giratina, you'll get a lot of energy, but you'll also take a lot of damage, so it does decide to come in with the Togekiss. And the answer is actually a Kyogre, which is a pretty decent response right there. The opponent swaps onto Giratina. Obviously, we swap into Giratina Origin here, makes a lot of sense because both Kyogre and their own Giratina. Neutral matchup for Giratina, bad matchup for the Kyogre. So gonna go for the move here, gonna shield this up, does get baited with the Omnis Wind. And at this point, still has a shield advantage. A little bit of lag right here, and this should only be an Omnis Wind as well, but at the same time, if you get the opponent into Omnis Wind range and then farm it down while preserving a bit of health on your own Giratina to land a Shadow Ball on that Kyogre, that's probably the win condition at this point. So gonna go for the Omnis Wind right here. Going to knock, gets the boost. Oh my goodness, this Kyogre. Not gonna be able to do anything at this point. Surf's not gonna KO. Gonna get hit by that Shadow Ball. You already know. Bang! There it is. Boosted Shadow Ball. Taking out the Kyogre. Taking that game. A 5-0 set. Double Charm looking pretty OP. At least in this video. So those were the battles in the Open Master League featuring a double charm strategy. Sylveon and Togekiss in the back, Giratina Origin in the lead. This is definitely a team that's going to frustrate a lot of opponents, but it is also very efficient in regards to an ABB strategy. You want to lure out the Steel type and then pretty much save the endgame for Togekiss with shields. If you guys enjoy this type of content, please consider leaving a like, commenting. Feel free to check out one of my other videos right here. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.